We're going to look at our day 3 here in our systems unit. And the method that we're going to study today is called elimination. So up until this point, we have learned the graphing method, where you graph 2 lines and determine the solution. The next thing we studied was substitution, where we got one variable by itself and then we plugged that item into the other equation. This is called the elimination method, and so I'm gonna break this down into 2 parts. So what I want you to notice here on these first 2 equations, can you see how things are aligned in columns? So I'm going to kind of go like this. I want you to see that the x's are aligned in columns, the y's are aligned in columns, and then the numbers without variables are also aligned. Same thing here. X's are lined up, y's are lined up, and then numbers without variables. We got our equal signs lined up. So if we can get a more of a column approach, then what we can do is add vertically the 3 columns. So if I look at this first example, if I go to add x plus 2x, I have 3x. If I do y minus y, well, that's 0. I'm going to just go like that and not bring down 0. And then add here, 7 plus negative 1, or 7 minus 1 is 6. Do you see how the y eliminated? Now that allows me then to solve for x in the other equation. So if I have an equation with 2 variables, I can't solve for either variable. But if I'm able to eliminate one of the variables, then I can go on. So that's what we're trying to do today. If we kind of look at the second one, see how if I add the x's, I get 4x. And if I add the y's, I get 1y. Nothing canceled out. Okay, so my goal here is I need to eliminate a variable. It doesn't matter if it's x or y, I need to eliminate it. So I could change my approach here. Instead of adding, I could subtract, and if I did subtract, I would get these x's to cancel out. So we're going to look at a few examples where we have to subtract, or really what I like to do is multiply through by a -1, and then I can just add my columns. Okay, well, let's look at this first one. Solve the system by elimination. So I am, number 1, checking are things lined up. And I'll just use my pencil for a while. I see my x's are lined up, my y's are lined up, my equal signs, and my numbers. So I'm ready to go. Now, when I add, do my x's add up to 0, or do my y's add up to 0, or none of the above? So x plus negative x, or x minus x, yeah, that adds up to 0. That's what I want to have happen. So I'm going to go like this. I am ready to add. So if I do x minus x, I'm just going to cancel through. I could write 0 down, but there's no need to do that. Add these 2. 3y plus y is 4y. Don't forget to add these 2. 10 plus negative 2, or 10 minus 2 is 8. And then I solve. So divide both sides by 4. Y equals 2. Now I'm still trying to approach an answer, an ordered pair. So I just got the 2 in the ordered pair. So I'm going to take 2, and I'm either going to plug it in right here in equation 1 or right here in equation 2. It doesn't matter where it gets plugged in. I'm just going to go to the top equation just because. So if I go to plug that in, I will have x plus 3, and then I now know that y is equal to 2, so let's plug that in and then write the rest of the equation down. And then now we simplify. So x plus 3 times 2 is 6. And then solve for x. So take away 6 from both sides. So I get x equals 4. So finish your ordered pair, and that's your solution. Now I can always check these. So what I can do is take my calculator and plug this in for x and this in for y. So I'm going to type the first equation in but plug the numbers in. So instead of x, I'm going to do 4 plus 3 times the y value, which is 2, and hit enter. I better get 10 or something's wrong. Check the second one. So if I do negative and then type the x plus y, I get -2. So if I don't get that, I have made a calculation error somewhere. Okay, let's do number 2. Are they aligned in columns? X's, Y's, equal signs, numbers. Okay, so if they're not, I would rearrange it and make sure they're in columns. Does anything eliminate? Negative x plus x. Yeah, that's going to add up to 0. So let's move forward and add. Those eliminate to 0. 3y minus 3y. Oh, that eliminates to 0. So I can't not write anything over here. I end up having 0 on the left. 5 plus 1 is 6. So this is going to be, I'm not going to be able to get a nice ordered pair because my variables disappeared. This is going to be a no solution or an infinitely many solutions. 0 equals 6 is false. So there is no number in the world that will work. This is a no solution. So if you get everything to eliminate on one side, you really have 0 plus 0, which is just 0. Okay, number 3. Solve the system. Check your alignment. X's are good, Y's are good, equal signs, numbers. 5 and 5 is 10. 4. Okay, so nothing eliminates. So what I want to do, though, is recognize if I could get this to say -5, that would add up to 0. So what should I multiply 5 by to make it say -5? Well, I should multiply by -1. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to put parentheses around the whole thing because I need to distribute that -1 in there. So let's recopy. I'm not going to mess with the top equation. So I'm just going to recopy it over here to the right. And then the second equation, let's distribute. So it's really going to say -5, -1 times 2 is -2y, and then -1 and 6 is -6. Now, let's add. Okay, here's my elimination. You forced that to happen, so that's what I wanted. 4 plus -2, or really 4 minus 2 is 2y. 22 minus 6, 16, I believe. And then divide by 2, so y is going to equal 8. Okay, so I am going to get an ordered pair here. I'm going to get something, comma, 8. So I like to go back to the original equations, and I'm just going to take my 8, and I'm just going to plug it into the first one. You can certainly plug it into the second. I'm just picking the first one for no particular reason, just because. Okay, I'm going to do 5x plus 4 times y, which is 8, equals 22. So we plug in and we simplify. So 5x plus 32 is 22. Let's move the 32 over. So take away 32, take away 32. So 32 minus 32 is 0. So 5x equals 22 minus 32 is -10. And then divide by 5, divide by 5. X equals -2. So bring that -2 up here. And then let's just do a quick check, because it's pretty easy to type this into your calculator. See if I can get all that on the screen together. All right, I'm going to do 5 times -2, not minus, plus 4 times 8, and I hope I get 22. I do, good. All right, do the second one. 5 times -2 plus 2 times 8, I get 6. Okay, so that means this is correct. All the math worked out. If I wouldn't have gotten the 22 or 8, then I would know something is off. Okay, well, let's keep going. All right, I would like you to actually try the next two on your own. So will you stop the video and try 4 and 5, and then come back when you have an answer, or if you get stuck, come back and I will work through it. Okay, I want to check my columns, numbers, equals, x's, and y's, but nothing eliminates as is. So you could do one of two things. You could say, well, instead of adding the 7s, what if I did 7 minus 7? That would add to 0. So that means I need to do 10 minus 8 and negative 30 minus 24, okay? In essence, what you're doing is you're just changing them all by multiplying through by a -1, okay? So I'm just gonna continue to write this out, but if you wanna go ahead and change all these to the opposite sign and then add, you're gonna get the same answer as I do. So I'm not gonna touch the top equation, but I am gonna multiply through by a negative on the bottom. So that would become a positive 24 equals a negative 8 minus 7y. All right, now I'm ready to add. So negative 30 minus 24 is a negative 6. 10 minus 8 is 2. And then the y's cancel out. Divide by 2. So I'm getting a negative 3 for x. All right, ordered pair, negative 3 comma something. So take your negative 3 and let's substitute in. And I'll just go to the second equation this time. You can go to the first equation. We should get the same answer. So I'm going to have a negative 24 equals 8 times x, but I got negative 3 for x, and then plus 7y. And then solve. So bring down negative 24. 8 times 3 is negative 24. Oops, that should be a plus sign. 7y. So let's move the 24 over. So add 24, add 24. So you might have a tendency to go like that, but I need something over here. Well, negative 24 plus 24 is 0. That's also 0, but I don't really need to write 0 plus 7y. I can just write 7y. So keep going. 0 is a valid number. Divide by 7, divide by 7, and then 0 divided by 7 is 0. So I got 0 for y, so complete your ordered pair up there, and there's your solution. And so you can also plug it in and check if you'd like. Alrighty, number 5. Okay, I'm gonna do what I said at the top. Instead of multiplying through by -1, I'm gonna recognize if I made that say negative, they would add to 0. So if I change this by the opposite sign, I need to come through and change that one and that one. Okay, so if you're comfortable doing that, you can write that out. So look what happens here. 0 minus, or x minus x is 0. 8y minus 8y is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. So I need to have some numbers here. So I end up with 0 on this side. 2 minus 2, I end up with 0 on that side. So all my variables dropped out. Decide if this is true or false. Yeah, true. So this is our infinitely many solutions. Infinitely many solutions. And if you go back to the beginning, do you see how the equations are the same? So that means that envision graphing this. You're going to graph one line on top of the other because it's really just the same line. So it doesn't matter what numbers we plug in for x and y. I'm always going to get this to be true. Okay, let's apply this to a couple of word problems. All right, let's start with this first one here, number 6. You and a friend go to Tacos Galore for lunch. You order 3 soft tacos and 5 burritos, and your total bill is $16.25. Your friend's bill is $8.75 for 3 soft tacos and 2 burritos. How much do soft tacos cost, and how much do burritos cost? So I'm trying to come up with how much is it per item here. So I have money and numbers of tacos and burritos. But what I want you to see here is my 2 topics are your order and your friend's order. So I'm going to write one equation taking into account the tacos and burritos and how much I spent, and a second equation with your friends. So we can call these X and Y, or we could do this. We could use S for soft tacos, B for burritos. And then when we're done, when we get a B as an answer, we know what that means is burritos. So you order 3 soft tacos. So 3 soft tacos and 5 burritos plus 5B, and you spent $16.25. Okay, do the same thing for your friend. Your friend spent $8.75 for 3 soft tacos and 2 burritos, and they spent $8.75. So how much do soft tacos cost and how much do burritos cost? So we're ready to do what we've done all along. Let's do this elimination method. Okay, grab that again. All right, so I've got my S's, B's equals numbers. So my S's are almost going to cancel, but they're both positive. So if I made one of them negative, I'd be in good shape. So you could multiply through by a -1. And so I'm going to do that here with my pen, my other color pen. So if I multiply 3 by -1, I get -3. This would become a -2. That would become a -8. Okay, let's go ahead and add these columns. So the 3's add up to 0. 5 minus 2 is 3B. 16.25 minus 8.75, and I am getting 7.5. So divide by 3. So 7.5 divided by 3, I get B is equal to 2.5. So this is money. How much does the burrito cost? So this is $2.50. So let's make that look a little bit better. Go ahead and add that 0 on, and I want the $sign. Okay, so I'm going to add here each burrito. Okay, let's plug that in and figure out the soft tacos. So I'm just going to go to the top one to plug in. So I'm going to have 3 times S plus 5 times B is $2.50 equals $16.25. Okay, let's solve. 3S plus, let's multiply that. 5 times $2.50, so that's going to be 12.5. Okay, keep going. Take away 12.5 from both sides. So this is $3.75. Divide by 3, divide by 3, 1.25. Okay, that's money. So $1.25 each soft taco. Okay. Now I could have called them X and Y, but sometimes if you name them like the first letter of the content in the problem, then I don't have to go back and say, okay, what does X stand for? I just know that that's the burrito and soft taco. All right, I want you all to try the last one on your own. I want you to go ahead and pause the video. You are going to set up the 2 equations and you're going to solve. Okay, this one's very similar to the last. At a sale in winter clothing, Cody bought 2 pairs of gloves, 4 pairs of hats for $43. Tori bought 2 pairs of gloves, 2 hats for $30. Find the prices of hats and gloves. So I'm going to set up an equation for Cody and one for Tori. Okay, Cody bought 2 pairs of gloves. So I'm going to do 2G for gloves and 4 hats. So 4H for a total of $43. Tori bought 2 pairs of gloves, so 2G plus 2 hats, 2H equals 30. Okay, find the price of each. Okay, so I have the same number, so let's multiply through by a -1. So I'm going to change, this will change to a negative sign, this will change to a negative sign, that will change to a negative sign. Okay, you've got to do the whole thing or else you're just changing one part, which changes the whole problem. Okay, add these up. That is now a 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. 43 minus 30 is 13. Divide by 2. Check that. I believe that's 7.5, 6.5. Glad I checked. All right, H is equal to 6.5. These are prices. So that means this is $6.50 each hat. Okay, let's plug that in for H and figure out G. So I'm just going to go up here to the top and plug in 650 here. So 2G plus 4 times 650 equals 43. So 4 times 650 is 26. So 2G plus 26 is equal to 43. So move the 26 over, so subtract 26 from both sides. So 43 minus 26 is 17. So 2G is equal to 17. Divide by 2, 8.5. So again, this is money. So $8.50, I'll say each pair of gloves, not each glove. All right, $6.50 per hat. Each pair of gloves is going to cost $8.50. So this is how we'd use the elimination method. So sometimes it's easier to use elimination over substitution, but we'll eventually get to a point where we will kind of decide which method makes sense. All right, that's it for this topic.